They may not be as colorful as most parrots, but African greys are arguably the most astonishing birds in the world, with a greater mimic of human speech than any other parrot. Research shows that this species possesses the cognitive skills of a 5-year-old human, a level of intelligence that's fueled their popularity. Parrots have unfortunately been a popular pet for many people around the world for a very long time, with the intrigue of this bird creating a large global demand. But in 2016, a necessary decision was made to protect the African grey parrot, one of the most traded wildlife species in the world. The Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species, CITES, banned all international trade in African greys with the exception of rare circumstances, such as captive-bred birds from breeding facilities that are registered with CITES. With over 1.3 million greys exported from Africa over the past 4 decades, the story of this wild bird is one of widespread captivity. This market in Lagos is reportedly a popular hub for the African grey trade, and Ifeanyi Ezenwa, a PhD candidate at the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, who also works with the World Parrot Trust, has been keeping track of these activities since 2017. Despite both the CITES ban and parrots being protected under the first schedule of Nigeria's Endangered Species Act, which is the highest level of protection for wildlife in the country, he explained that the trade is still common.
Ido market has always been a hub for the sale of African grey parrot for quite a long time. First coming to Lagos to conduct the bird survey, based on inquiries that I made as a number of places, I have always verified to this very point to be the place that I can always see a grey parrot to buy or people that sells.
Vendors here are wary of reporters, so we were unable to get much information from them on camera. This does suggest that they know these activities are illegal, but because there's little enforcement, they continue to sell. One salesman explained that he sells African greys for prices ranging between 25,000 and 30,000 naira per bird, which is about $45 to $50, generating good revenue. Most of his customers are looking for parrots either for entertainment or security, as they believe in training these birds to report on activities in their homes and immediate environments. Although he continues to sell, he did express concern over the scarcity of these birds.
A market survey that I did where the parts of the parrot are being sold, I was told that it helps in regulating menstrual cycle in women.
But there's no empirical evidence to support this.
There is no empirical evidence here to support it, but to them that have been using it, have been using the part, they have often said that. And also the tongue, the head is used they believe that it can cure people that have stammering ability, that stammers.
Since 2016, wild African greys have been listed as endangered by the International Union for Conservation of Nature, and the sales aren't limited to physical markets. Several Instagram pages are marketing these parrots for sale, and despite the fact that social media platforms are responsible for removing inappropriate or illegal content, these activities are open and constant. Some of Nigeria's largest online marketplaces are also selling African grey parrots on their platform regardless of the laws. On gg.ng, hundreds of greys are up for sale, and for such a large-scale company, it's difficult to understand why this hasn't been nipped in the bud. I sent an email to the CEO and co-founder of Gigi, expressing concern and asking whether he's aware of the laws, but there was no response. Luzap, another online marketplace, had initially removed thousands of adverts for parrots following intervention from conservationists. But this decision seems to have been reversed, as African greys are back up for sale.
Yes, our research, together with the Global Initiative on Transnational Organised Crime into online marketplaces, shows that they are very much playing an increasingly important role in the trade of African grey parrots and other parrots and other wildlife. So what we did was we systematically investigated sales of African grey parrots on e-commerce platforms throughout countries where parrots occur. And Nigeria came up as being one of the, I guess, centres for e-commerce in grey parrots. We followed up this research by reaching out to the platforms involved and received a diversity of responses, with some platforms taking very immediate action to remove thousands of ads and updating their moderation policies. We've followed up with the engagement with other platforms that's been quite constructive, and then some platforms we just didn't get anything back from.
Rowan Martin is a director at the World Parrot Trust, an international NGO focused on the conservation and welfare of parrots. Over the past 2 decades, the Trust has led and aided conservation and welfare projects in 43 countries for more than 80 parrot species, and ending online sales has been a key focus of theirs.
One of the things we also discovered is through this process was just how opaque some of these platforms are, and it was often difficult to find out who owns these platforms, where they're headquartered, who to speak to, or anything about their moderation processes. And this speaks to a much wider problem about the regulation and moderation of e-commerce platforms in Africa, where I think in many instances it's very much sort of the Wild West currently, where there isn't a lot of scrutiny about what's being bought and sold online. It's important to remember that African grey parrots were once a very widespread and very abundant species throughout the forests in Central and West Africa. And I think for a long time there was a sort of perception that some level of exploitation was probably sustainable. But with sort of increasing collapses in wild populations, it became evident that that approach was not going to work. There are very few areas where parrots occur in the wild where they're not being trapped or poached from nests at some level. And surveys of markets show that parrots are offered openly for sale in cities throughout the country. This work has also revealed connections to international trafficking and Nigeria's role not just as a source of demand where parrots are consumed for pets and also for their parts in belief-based use, traditional medicine, but also as a hub in the global trade.
The population decline of African grey parrots is hard to quantify, although it's estimated that the West African population is between 40,000 to 100,000 birds. While mass-level capture for trade is a key threat, deforestation also plays a significant role. According to US conservation news platform Mongabe, between 1990 and 2010, Nigeria lost almost half of its forest cover, and this natural habitat that several wildlife species rely on continues to be wiped out. Sadly, the population decline of African greys is likely to be within the range of 50 to 79% in just another 4 decades. So protecting these parrots is crucial. At this wildlife sanctuary in Lagos, an African grey rehabilitation enclosure has just been built. Chinedu Mogbo, the founder, explained why rehabilitation after rescue is a key process for the survival of these birds.
When they are basically captured by these people, the first thing they do is that they clip their wings. So you find out that these birds already have they're handicapped, they can't fly. And to go through the stress of taking out the wings that have been clipped will be it's a stressful process for the birds. So we don't do that. We allow them as much time to grow their new feathers. I mean, because they are also in this open space, they'll keep practicing trying to fly. They will fly, they will fall. The ground must be as soft as possible so that they don't basically get any form of injury when they do that. So once they're able to fly, then we're already one step to release, but that's not all. Now, the second stage is now the type of food basically we have to give them. We have to, based on where we're releasing them, we have to make sure we also get the kind of food that is suitable, also found in those areas where they will be released, so that by the time they get into the wild, they will also basically be able to find the food basically within that area. I'm going to open up the cage and have him walk out by himself. As you can see, he's already a bit jittery, but yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take him. He gives him, he's feeling now he's in a big space. The flapping of the wings, even though his wings has been clipped, but he will still try as much as possible.
Although the story of African grey parrots has been one of great exploitation, this narrative can change into one of repopulation and freedom. African grey parrots can only thrive in the wild, where they play a very important role in their habitat, dispersing seeds of fruits to sustain many tree species and propagate the forests. While laws protecting these special birds must be enforced if they are to survive, citizens have an equally important role to play by not fueling this trade. Saying no to parrots on sale and ensuring the rehabilitation and release of parrots currently caged as pets can go a long way in the effort to keep the African grey parrot alive in the distant future and not just a regrettable memory of the past. Laila Johnson-Salami, Arise News, Lagos.